My wife faked a home invasion and blamed my best friend to get me to cut him off. I replied, "I'll call the police." Then I showed the cops the living room camera footage of her staging the break-in herself. The look on her face when the officer said, "Ma'am, put your hands behind your back." I, 36 male, have had a best friend, Julian, 35, and a wife, Alara, 33. Julian and I have been friends since college and built a small software company together from my garage. Alara and I have been married for 5 years. The problem is, Alara has always hated Julian. Not in an overt, "I hate him" way. It was subtle. Poison. "Don't you think Julian is a little too dependent on you? I just worry he takes advantage of your good nature. All those late nights at the office. Are you sure it's a good idea to have him over for dinner again? It's our time." I always defended him. "Alara, he's my business partner and my best friend. He's family." This, I learned, was precisely the problem. She wanted to be the only family. I'm a bit of a home security nut. Not because I'm paranoid, I just like tech. We have a few cameras in the common areas, all visible, all feeding into a local NVR network video recorder in my office, which also backs up encrypted footage to my private cloud server. Alara knew about them. She called them my nerd toys. Last week, I had to fly out for a 2-day client pitch. It was supposed to be Julian's trip, but Alara suddenly had a minor car accident, a fender bender in a parking lot, and was too traumatized for me to leave her alone with Julian. So I switched. I went. Julian stayed to mind the office. I'd been gone maybe 30 hours when my phone blew up. It was Alara, hysterical, sobbing, hyperventilating. "Leo, oh God, Leo, someone broke in. They smashed everything." My blood went ice cold. "Are you okay? Did you call the police? I'm hiding in the closet. I just got home and the living room is..." "Oh, Leo," she wailed. They took your grandfather's drafting tools." My stomach clenched. "Those tools are irreplaceable. They sat in a vintage wooden box on my office shelf. They have zero cash value but mean the world to me. Alara, hang up and call 911. I'm getting the next flight." "No, wait," she shrieked. "Leo, I think I saw who it was. When I pulled up, someone ran out the back. He was wearing that green jacket, the one Julian always wears." Silence. My brain just stopped. "What? It looked just like him, Leo. He must have used his key. He knew you were gone. He knew I was at my mom's. He's the only one who knew how much those tools meant to you." She was full-on sobbing now. "He's always been jealous of us. He's trying to frame you or hurt us." I stood there in my sterile hotel room, and the most awful, cold, clear feeling settled over me. It wasn't anger. It wasn't panic. It was certainty. "Alara," I said, my voice dangerously calm. "That is an incredibly serious accusation. I'm calling the police. Don't touch anything." I hung up before she could reply. But I didn't call 911. I opened my laptop, typed in my server address, and navigated to the security NVR. Just as I expected, the living room camera and office camera were both offline. Status, unplugged. She knew which ones to pull. She's smart, but I'm smarter. She forgot about the tiny, wide-angle foyer cam that I'd installed 2 months ago behind a bookshelf, the one I'd told her was defective and was meaning to send back. I clicked the cloud backup. I scrolled back 1 hour, and I watched. I watched my wife, Alara, walk into the living room, perfectly calm in her yoga pants. I watched her go to my office. I watched her unplug the office cam, then the living room cam. I watched her return to the foyer, still in view of the defective cam, and pull a cheap vase from the hall table. I watched her drop it on the tile floor. I watched her go back to the office, out of view, and return holding the wooden box of my grandfather's drafting tools. I watched her walk to the kitchen, grab her oversized tote bag, and carefully place the box inside it. I watched her pull a few books off the shelf, toss the mail on the floor, and yank a cushion off the couch. Then I watched her walk to the hall closet, pull out her phone, take a deep breath, and dial my number. I saved the 4-minute clip. I downloaded it to my phone. Then I called the local, non-emergency line for my precinct. "Hello, my wife has just reported a home invasion at 123 Apple Street. I am the homeowner. I am currently out of town, but I have video evidence of the entire event I need to share with the responding officers. Please have them wait for me. I am on my way from the airport. The evidence is sensitive. I booked a flight that left in 70 minutes. I was on the ground in 3 hours and at my house in 3.5. 2 police cars were outside. Alara was on the porch, wrapped in a blanket, talking to a younger cop, Brody. A second, older officer was taking notes. Alara saw me, ran over, and tried to collapse into my arms. Leo, it was awful. I didn't hug her. I just put my hands on her shoulders and held her at arm's length. The police are here, Alara. You're safe. Her eyes flickered. She'd sensed the change. Officer Reyes approached. Mr. Last Name, you're the homeowner? You called our dispatcher about video evidence? Yes, officer, I said. My wife has been telling me her theory about my friend Julian. Alara nodded, tears welling. I saw him, officer. He ran right past the window. I see, Ray said, writing. That's a felony charge, ma'am. Burglary. You're sure you're willing to testify to that? Absolutely, Alara said, puffing up with indignation. He's a horrible person. Okay, I said. Officer, before you go knocking on my friend's door, could I show you this? It's from my foyer camera, the one my wife and the intruder apparently missed. I pulled out my phone. Alara's face went white. A camera? What camera? Leo, what are you? The defective one, honey. I guess it fixed itself. I hit play. Reyes and Brody huddled around my phone. Alara stood frozen, her mouth slightly open. They watched the whole thing. The vase, the office trip, the tote bag, the staged mess, the phone call from the closet. Brody's eyebrows disappeared into his hairline. Reyes finished watching, let out a long, slow sigh, and looked up. Not at me, at my wife. Alara Last Name. No, Alara shrieked, her voice cracking. That's a fake, a deep fake. Leo, you did this. You and Julian. You're framing me. Ma'am, Officer Reyes said, her voice flat. I'm looking at a time-stamped, encrypted file from a private security server. He's been on a plane. You're here, on video, committing a crime. Or several, actually. What crime? I was just cleaning. Ma'am, Reyes said, cutting her off. She was done. Filing a false police report is a serious offense. Wasting police resources is a serious offense. Conspiracy to commit, well, we'll let the DA figure that out. Put your hands behind your back. The look. It wasn't sadness. It wasn't remorse. It was pure, unadulterated rage. The look of a cornered animal. You bastard, she screamed at me as Brody cuffed her. You're choosing him over me? After everything? You'll regret this. You'll be nothing without me. She was still screaming as they put her in the car. I just stood there, in my fake ransacked living room. The silence was deafening. Then I picked up my phone and called Julian. Dude, I said, my voice shaking for the first time. You are not going to believe this, but first, are you at home? And do you have an alibi for the last 3 hours? Update 1. It's been 2 weeks since the staging. My life has been a blur of lawyers, police statements, and boxes. First, the fallout. Alara was charged with filing a false police report, a serious misdemeanor in my state, borderline felony given the value of the non-existent theft, and misuse of emergency services. Her parents, Arthur and Beatrice, bailed her out within hours. She's staying with them. I filed for divorce the next day. I retained the best and most shark-like lawyer in the city. When I showed her the video, she didn't even smile. She just said, "Oh, this is clean. Very clean." I had a locksmith change the locks and reset all the garage codes within an hour of her arrest. My lawyer immediately filed for an emergency motion, granting me exclusive use of the house, premarital asset bought and paid for by me before I ever met her, which the judge signed off on instantly given the circumstances, i.e. wife faking a crime. Now, the entitlement. It began with her parents. I got a call from her father, Arthur. Not a "how are you," but a demand. Arthur, Leo, you need to call off your lawyers now. That's not happening, Arthur. You are destroying our daughter. You have humiliated her. This is a family matter, and you brought the police into it. You don't do that. Me. She tried to have my best friend arrested for a felony, Arthur. A man who has never been anything but kind to her. She tried to ruin his life. She was just desperate for your attention, Leo. She loves you. She sees how that man dominates your time and your business. She just wanted you to see. A wife has a right to be the center of her husband's life. You owe her that. Me. I owe her nothing. She's a criminal. I'm having her belongings packed and sent to your address. Don't call me again. I hung up. Then came the dirty trick. I got a fraud alert from my bank. I'd frozen all her supplementary credit cards on my accounts. She was just an authorized user the night of the arrest. Apparently, Alara had called the bank, claimed I had stolen her wallet, and was trying to report me for financial abuse. She was trying to get a new card with a new number, issued and overnighted to her parents' address. The bank rep, "Sir," she was very convincing. She said you were unstable and had violent outbursts. But since you, as the primary account holder, had already placed a security freeze, it triggered a high-level review. Me. Please note on the account that she is not to be trusted, that she is currently facing criminal charges, and that any attempt to access my accounts is fraudulent. I forwarded that little tidbit to my lawyer, who added it to the growing Alara's bad faith actions file for the divorce. Julian is rattled. He had to give a formal statement to the police, confirming he was at the office. Security badged entry logs confirmed it, lol, and had no knowledge of any of this. The police found my grandfather's drafting tools in the tote bag in the trunk of Alara's car, right where I told them it would be. They're still in evidence pending the trial. I can't even get them back yet. That, more than anything, makes me furious. Now, Alara's legal strategy is something. Her lawyer is trying to claim extreme emotional duress. She's painting me as the villain. Her claim, I was a cold, unavailable husband who was emotionally abusive through my codependent relationship with Julian. She's arguing that she's the real victim, and that the video was taken without her consent, and is inadmissible. My lawyer just laughed. It's a common area, not a bathroom. It was for security, not voyeurism. And the charges aren't for what she did on the video, the staging. The charges are for lying to the police, which she did, verifiably, after the video was taken. She's toast. This is a mess. I'm sleeping in the guest room because I can't stand being in the master bedroom. I'm packing her stuff myself. Found a stash of receipts for hotels and dinners. All for one. Or so they say. My lawyer's looking into it. She really thought she could get rid of Julian, have me all to herself, and I'd just... What? Thank her? The delusion is staggering. Update 2. It's been a month. The entitlement has, as one of you predicted, gone supernova and achieved a kind of toxic godhood. First, the flying monkeys. I'm not on social media much, so she couldn't do a public smear, plus her lawyer probably told her not to, given the criminal charges. So, she's unleashed her friends personally. I've gotten a dozen texts and calls from numbers I don't recognize, all from her friends and some of our mutuals, giving me the same script. Leo, you're being so cold. She's a victim. She just made a mistake. Are you really going to ruin her life over one mistake? You know, Julian always had a weird vibe. Are you sure he didn't do something to provoke her? And my personal favorite from her maid of honor. Don't you know women just do things like this when they feel unheard? She was just crying out for help. You should be in therapy with her, not in court against her. I replied to that one. She cried help by trying to send an innocent man to prison. Blocked. My block list is now impressively long. The divorce battle. Alara is now, and I am not joking, demanding the house, my premarital asset, half of the business, claiming she was an unpaid emotional support partner and consultant, LMAO, and $10,000 a month in alimony. My lawyer's response was, "This is a kitchen sink demand. It's what desperate people with zero leverage do. We will respond accordingly." Accordingly meant a counterfiling for her to pay my legal fees, citing her criminal conduct and bad faith fraud attempts. But that's not the dirty trick. This is what sent me over the edge. Julian has a 7-year-old daughter, Maya, from a previous marriage. He's a fantastic dad. Last Tuesday, Julian got a knock on his door. It was Child Protective Services. An anonymous tip was called in. The tipster claimed Julian was emotionally unstable, had violent associates, that's me, I guess, and was bringing strange men around his daughter. That's also me. They claimed he was leaving Maya alone at night to go conduct business. At odd hours. Julian was, and is, terrified. This is his daughter. He had to submit to interviews, a home inspection. Maya had to be interviewed by a social worker at her school. It was humiliating, invasive, and horrifying for him. I was livid. I knew in my bones, it was Alara. This wasn't just trying to ruin my life anymore. She was now attacking Julian's child to punish him for existing and to punish me for supporting him. I called my lawyer. She's going after Julian's kid. My lawyer for the first time sounded angry. This is criminal harassment, and it is spectacularly stupid. We file for an emergency restraining order. Now, and I'm calling the district attorney. The Revenge Part 1. My lawyer immediately contacted the DA handling Alara's false report case. My client's ex-wife, your defendant, is now engaging in a campaign of targeted harassment against the victim of her original false report, Mr. Julian. She has, we are certain, filed a false and malicious CPS report against him. The DA, who was apparently considering a lenient plea deal, probation therapy, was not pleased. This moved Alara from foolish, jealous wife to malicious, ongoing public threat. The DA's office immediately launched an investigation into the source of the CPS call. The Revenge Part 2. Simultaneously, my lawyer had one of his partners draft a civil suit, Julian v. Alara, last name. The suit is for defamation, for the original burglary claim, malicious prosecution, and intentional infliction of emotional distress, for the CPS call. This is no longer just my divorce. This is a separate, massive lawsuit from Julian seeking significant damages for the attack on his reputation and his family. The fallout. The CPS case was, of course, closed as unfounded within 48 hours. Julian is a model father, and the claims were transparently absurd. But the stress and fear are real. Alara's parents called me, screaming this time. Arthur, a lawsuit? You're suing her? She has nothing. You're trying to take our money. You should be proud. Your daughter just escalated from a liar to a child endangerer. She tried to take Julian's daughter. So yes, we are going to take everything. You're a monster, Leo. A monster. No, Beatrice, I'm just the guy holding the camera. Your daughter is the one staging the horror movie. You're all going to have to watch it. I hung up and blocked their numbers too. Julian and I met last night. He looked exhausted. I'm sorry, man, I told him, and my voice cracked. I'm so sorry. I brought this person into our lives. I should have seen what she was. Julian just looked at me. You didn't. She fooled you. She fooled everyone. But she's not fooling anyone now. We finished this. Together. She crossed a line. A big, bright, uncrossable line. She went after a kid. No more mercy. No more holding back. My lawyer is cleared to burn it all to the ground. Final update. It's been 6 months. It's over. Here's how the house of cards Alara built finally came down. The criminal case, the DA's investigation into the CPS call, was the kill shot. They subpoenaed the records for the anonymous call. It came from a prepaid burner phone app, but the app was purchased on an iTunes account, which was registered to Beatrice, Alara's mom. When confronted, Beatrice and Arthur tried to take the fall. They claimed they made the call, that they were genuinely concerned for Maya's welfare after Alara told them how unstable Julian and I were. The DA didn't buy it for a second. They saw it as a clear conspiracy. Alara was facing a trial for the false report and new felony charges for the CPS report, conspiracy, criminal harassment. Her lawyer finally saw the writing on the wall. She was offered a global plea deal. She pled guilty to 1 count of filing a false police report and 1 count of criminal harassment. Her sentence, no jail time. This is the realistic part I was prepared for. First-time offender, nonviolent. 2 years of stringent probation, a $10,000 fine, 1,000 hours of community service, mandatory psychiatric evaluation and court-ordered therapy/anger management for the full 2 years. A permanent, 10-year restraining order forbidding her from contacting me, Julian, or his daughter Maya. Violation means immediate jail time. The divorce. Her guilty plea in the criminal case absolutely gutted her divorce claims. The judge in a pretrial hearing basically told her lawyer that her demands were frivolous and offensive. The house, I keep it, 100%. Premarital, and her conduct, specifically faking a crime in it, voided any claim of contribution she might have had. The business, I and Julian keep it, 100%. Her claim of being an unpaid consultant was dismissed with extreme prejudice. Alimony, 0, none. The judge cited her egregious criminal conduct against her spouse's business partner as an act of economic dissipation against the marriage. But, and this is the part that stings, the part that makes it real. I didn't get out clean. We had to split the liquid assets accumulated during the marriage. This meant I had to liquidate a brokerage account and write her a check for her half. It was for $82,450. It felt like swallowing glass. I had to pay her to leave after everything. I wasn't a hero who lost nothing. I took a real, painful financial hit. She was smirking when her lawyer told her the number. The civil suit, Julian's revenge. This is where the justice happened. Alara's parents, Arthur and Beatrice, were also named in the civil suit as co-conspirators in the CPS harassment. They were facing a public, humiliating trial. Their lawyer advised them to settle, quickly. They settled out of court. The evidence, the guilty plea, the iTunes trace was undeniable. The settlement amount? $100,000. $80,000 of it went to Julian for legal fees, damages, and therapy for him and Maya. The other $20,000 was a mandated, court-overseen deposit into a college trust fund for Maya, which Alara and her parents are forbidden from ever touching. So let's do the math. I paid Alara $82,450. Alara and her parents, who had to foot the bill, paid Julian and his daughter $100,000. I essentially paid my best friend's damages via my psycho ex-wife. It's the most bizarre, karmic, and satisfying transfer of funds I've ever seen. That smirk was wiped right off her face when her civil lawyer told her the settlement would eat her entire divorce payout, and then some. The aftermath. My grandfather's drafting tools are back from evidence. They're on my desk. They look the same. Julian and I are fine. The business is fine. His daughter is fine. Our friendship is obviously stronger than ever. I hear through the grapevine, a former mutual who apologized profusely, that Alara is living in her parents' guest room. Her $10 fine and community service start next month. Her probation terms make it hard to get a job. Her parents are apparently furious, as their retirement fund took a massive hit to pay the settlement. They're not treating her like a victim anymore. They're treating her like the bad investment she is. She's bitter, angry, and blames everyone but herself. She got what she wanted. I'm no longer in her life. She just didn't account for the cost. As for me, I'm in therapy. My trust in people is, well, it's shot. It cost me a lot of money and a lot of peace. But the house is quiet. It's my house again. I sold her furniture and bought a new couch. It's over. She played a stupid, evil game and she lost.